and she said she had a headache. It's called headache, originally enough. Ignoring me again, she thought. And then it started. The noise was unlike anything Josephine had ever heard. A hissing, whistling noise with hot steam infiltrating her ear canals. She tried to sit down at the kitchen table and covered her ears with her hands, burning the skin. Dizziness made the world spin around her. Her chair twisted out beneath her and she landed on the floor. The black and white checked linoleum then danced beneath her, tossing and bucking her while she was on all fours. The pressures on the inside of her head made her wonder if something had taken residence there and was about to bust out, like her skull was the shell of an egg, with whatever it was pecking strategically at the same spots, trying to get it to crack. Right behind her left eye and the base of her skull at its base, alternating back and forth, tremendous pressure and searing heat. She tried to call for help. She knew her husband, Todd, was watching football in the living room. As always, he had the sound up high on account of his hearing loss. She tried to call him, but the words came out in a gurgle. She crawled to the bathroom, praising God the door was open, clinging to the base of the sink and climbed up to get to the tap. She twisted the knob and the water flowed, snaking down cold on her singed hands. She wanted to get her head there, but struggled to pull up from the bucking ground. The pressure and heat continued to build. On the third try, with the last of her strength, she managed to get her torso over the sink, bent down and placed her head under the stream of water. It didn't help the pressure like she thought it would. Her skull made a popping sound as it cracked. Blood spattered across the mirror, and the creature finally crawled out, black speckled with silver and blood. It rinsed its wings under the water. Josephine had about 30 seconds of consciousness. She watched the creature take its first flight and heard Todd cheering at the latest touchdown through what was left of her eardrums. When Todd came in to use the bathroom, he thought she must have fallen and smacked her head on the sink. That didn't explain the burns on Josephine's usually soft hands. He called 911. "I think my wife's head exploded," he said. He cradled one part of her skull, pushing it back into the other half like he could make her whole again. Poor Josephine. "Does she have a pulse?" the dispatcher asked. "I'm not sure," he said, reaching for her pale, delicate wrist. That was when he heard the growl behind him and turned and saw the creature. Black insect eyes, a framework of wings unfolding beneath a silver-specked, three-part body. Its black beak had a piece of flesh hanging off of it. It was the size of a sparrow, but more bat-like in body. Todd did wish he had a gun at that moment. Not that it would have helped. He wished he had a knife, but didn't dare unlock eyes with this creature. He weighed his options. Should he run to the kitchen and get one? There was no time. He bent slightly and grabbed a magazine from the rack and rolled it, maintaining eye contact. Carefully, moving slowly, he raised his arm. Then he swatted as hard as he could, hitting the creature. It gave a high-pitched shriek. He dropped the cell phone in the toilet the moment the creature dive-bombed his right eye socket, so the dispatcher couldn't hear his calls for help through the water. The beak drove straight into his brain, opening and closing, cutting his thoughts like scissors.